Sanika, welcome, and the stage is all yours to share with us about the wonderful world of health and nutrition. Let me just bring up your biography so I can give you like a decent introduction. So we have with us Sanika, who is a CrossFit Level 1 certified coach and precision nutrition. And her main focus is to help people live a sustainable life while achieving their fitness, health, nutrition, and aesthetic goals. Very beautiful. And I heard from a bird whispered that you actually know the balance of how to actually have pizza and steak and be fit and happy and joyful. So I want to learn all about your secrets. I'm very happy that you came here to share some of your life hacks with us. Welcome, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you guys. I also like to see two familiar faces, both of whom are my uncles right here. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am going to dive straight into it, considering we started 5-7 minutes late, and I have a lot of information I want to share with you guys today. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone is doing the best that they can in the last year to 2 years that has been our life in the pandemic. Definitely not easy, but we figure it out. And an important part of that is also figuring out how we handle and take on our fitness and nutrition. That is something that we will do every day. That's something that's going to be a part of your life, pandemic or not, health good or not, mentally good or not, life good or not. And that's definitely a part of the stuff that I want to talk about today. A little bit about me, over and above what has already been said. I'm 26. I wasn't always in fitness and nutrition as a career. It's something that I picked up a few years ago. I have a master's in marketing from King's University in London. And I worked at a marketing company for a few years. And then I realized that, I love to work out. I love helping other people work out. And if I can do that for a living, why the hell not? Gone through the whole, weight loss phase. I was an overweight kid for a huge part of my life. And the reason that I do what I do today is because I feel like there's a lot of information out there. We have access to so much information out there at the click of a button. Instagram, you have so many people who are saying so many different things all the time. But the fact of the matter is you, at the end of the day, really need to find something that just works for you. I'm just going to dive straight into it. My whole approach to fitness and nutrition is all about sustainability. I believe that you should take on any kind of fitness plan, any kind of nutrition plan, any kind of lifestyle orientation right now, provided that you feel like you can do it for the rest of your life. If you're going to do something now and you can only sustain it for a week to 10 days, my philosophy is, why do it at all if you can't do it for the rest of your life? If you're going to get on a super intense diet, or if you're going to take on a super difficult workout regime, if you don't feel like you can sustain this for another 5 to 10 years when things get hectic in your life, for example, if you decide to get married, if you decide to go on a vacation, if you decide to not have access to a gym and get stuck in a lockdown, which is a very real thing that happened to the entire world, you should still be able to adopt your fitness and nutrition principles moving on in a way that helps you reach your fitness and aesthetic goals. So that's a lot about what I like to talk about, how I like to teach, and how I like to work as well. Like I said, a huge part of my life, I was overweight, or technically I would even fall under the obese category. I was about 20 kilos overweight than what my weight for my body height should be. It made me realize that the way that we bombard men, and especially women, with what the number on the weighing scale means, is actually quite unfair. Because when it comes to being overweight, look at any bodybuilder, look at any athlete. They fall under the overweight category as well. Why? It's just because they have a lot of muscle mass on their body. A lot of my work is centered around detaching yourself from the number on the weighing scale. You can fluctuate up to 2 kilos or about 5 pounds on the same day. So a lot of my work, especially when I work with women, has a lot to do with not focusing on the number on the weighing scale. I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about nutrition. And why today, and even for the last 10 to 15 years, why are people scared of carbs? This is something I see in every kind of, coaching forum and every kind of weight loss forum. What is the fear of carbs? Carbs don't make you fat. Carbs don't make you put on weight. It's extra calories that make you put on weight. You could be eating too much protein, or you could be eating too much fat, and that would be the real reason for your weight gain. Whether this was in the late 90s, early 2000s, when everyone was crazy about Atkins, which was all about cutting out carbs, or whether it's today, which is keto, and everybody wants to be on a ketogenic diet because they want, to lose weight fast. When you'll hear things like, I met my friend, she's been on keto for 2 months and she's lost a ton of weight. She looks great. But the fact of the matter is, can your friend sustain this ketogenesis lifestyle for the rest of her life? If not, she's shocking her body. You're shocking your body now. Now, I don't mean to put keto down. If you are somebody who can weigh and measure your food and be super accurate about the quality and kind of fat you're consuming, sure, to each their own. And also if it's sustainable. But if you're eating bacon with cheese and dousing it in butter every morning, I wouldn't call that the healthiest way of living. There has to be something wrong. So I want to talk about why people are so afraid of carbs. Carbs are the basic source of energy. Carbs are it's literally what breaks down the glucose into your body and gives you the ability to function every day. Don't be scared of carbs, guys. Forget the Atkins, forget the keto, figure out what a balanced meal and a balanced diet looks like for you. And yes, of course, I will talk about that in detail in a second. I also want to talk about the importance of protein now that I've spoken about the importance of carbs. I'm going to share a few stats and facts with you guys on misconceptions when it comes to protein. A lot of people think that protein makes you bulky. A lot of women think that eating protein, whether it's in the form of food or whether it's in the form of whey protein as a shake, they think it makes you bulky. The fact of the matter is, protein isn't what makes you bulky. Having a terrible diet and a nutritional lifestyle is what makes you bulky. Few stats on the misconceptions of protein. 70% of Indian people think that you can get protein from fruits, vegetables, and leafy greens. They have almost negligible protein. The main sources of protein are meat, eggs, soya, tofu, cottage cheese, and of course, whey. Also, 73% of urban India is deficient in protein. And I'm talking about urban India, the creme de la creme of a fairly third world country, where even we have misconceptions about protein. The most common one in an Indian household is what we call dal, or basically lentils, as a source of protein. But the fact of the matter is that 100 grams of any kind of yellow-based lentil, which is the most common one, has 3 grams of protein. Now, that is not considered a protein source. It's considered a carb source. And that's something that we've just been bombarded with as information growing up, where we've been told that lentils are protein. The fact of the matter is that it's not. Now that we've covered the concept of carbs and of protein, I want to get into the spectrum of surviving versus thriving. Now, this is important for many reasons. I'm sure some of you guys are hungry, can go get a nice meal after this. The concept of surviving versus thriving. If I feed a man rice for 30 years, he'll survive. The body has this innate caveman-like mentality to live another day. We always want to live another day. The body will adapt. The body will learn how to survive. The carbs that you eat will double up and do as much work as it can of the proteins and the fats that you require, but you're not feeding yourself. So like I said, if you feed a man rice for 30 years, he'll probably survive. He'll be at the beginning, smallest end of the start of the spectrum, which will be survival. Having said that, if we look at the other end of the spectrum, which is thriving, he probably won't be there. He will have muscle deficiency. He will have brain fog. He'll probably have some kind of emotional instability. Of course, I'm talking as a very extremist situation over here, because like I said, it's a spectrum. If you move closer and closer towards the center of the spectrum, where people do have protein deficiencies, where women aren't eating enough fat in order to regulate their menstrual cycles, if people are not exercising and burning the way that they need to, they will be edging more and more towards surviving rather than thriving. What is the goal today? Everybody wants to thrive. You want to be able to look good, feel good, move well, enjoy the foods that you want to in abundance, and still look pretty damn good in the mirror the next morning, and maybe probably be able to run a 5K without feeling like you're going to throw up or die. And that's what really involves thriving. That's what it means to get to the thriving end of the spectrum. How do we get that? Well, it's pretty simple in theory. Yes, of course, it does require a lot of intuitive eating, a lot of introspection, a lot of work, but I'm going to touch upon it basically from the concept of what I like to call having a sustainable diet in the terms of a balanced plate. What is a balanced plate? It approaches it from the concept of macronutrients. So to give you a broad overview, all food that we eat consists of calories. Now, if we take it a step below calories, what are calories made of? Calories are made of two broad things. The first one is called macronutrients, and the second one is called micronutrients. For all intents and purposes, micronutrients are all your vitamins and your minerals. Vitamin A, B, C, D, E, K, and your minerals like zinc, magnesium, calcium, stuff like that. I'm not going to get into that because it's quite detailed. Let's talk about the bigger chunk of things, which are your macronutrients. They are words that we hear every single day. They are primarily what our food is made up of. I'm going to let you know what they are. Proteins, carbs, and fats. All food is made up of either proteins, carbs, or fats, or a combination of two, or a combination of all three. Everybody has a specific macronutrient balance that is ideal for their body type, their goals. For example, athletes need to eat a lot more carbs than a regular person. People who want to lose weight, who have a lot of fat to lose, need to eat a lot more protein than somebody who's fairly on the skinnier side. Everybody has a macro balance. Achieving your ideal macronutrient balance, which is, X grams of carbs, X grams of proteins, and X grams of fats, is super important because that's what allows you to be able to eat sustainably. Now, as the speaker of the room did introduce very kindly about how, you can have how I like to say you can have your cake and eat it too, or, how do you eat steaks and pizzas and burgers while still being fit and enjoying the food that you love? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Like I said, you need to find your macronutrient balance. You can do so by working with a bunch of online calculators. And of course, you can hire a coach, someone much like myself, who can help you achieve this basis your lifestyle, body weight parameters, workouts, stuff like that. When it comes to a certain amount of carbs that you need, I'm going to get a little bit technical here, just bear with me for a minute. If you balance your plate with a good amount of proteins, carbs, and fats, and of course, vegetables, as many colorful vegetables as possible, you will be hitting your macronutrient goals. If you want to go out on a Friday night and eat a burger, by all means do it. Just make sure that you're fulfilling your carbohydrate elements of the day by eating that burger. The same goes for having a pizza or a pasta. If you want to go out and eat a steak, sure, it's a really good source of protein. Make sure you're going out and having your steak, you're having it with a small side of carbs and with a side of vegetables, and you're hitting your macronutrient goals for the day with your proteins, carbs, your fats, and your vegetables. Looking at your macro balancing from a meal vis-a-vis a whole day point of view really depends on your goals. For optimum muscle glycogen storage, you do want to hit your protein, fat, carbs goals in each meal. And if you are somebody who wants to have a bender on a Saturday night, sure, make sure that you're 10 on 10 leading up to your Saturday night, and then enjoy yourself. Always make sure that in an ideal world, you would hit your protein, carb, fat goals all the time, but do your best. That's what eating sustainably means. It doesn't mean getting on a crash diet. It does not mean cutting out carbs. It means fueling your body correctly and having fun 2 to 3 times a week while still balancing your plate and your macros. It really goes a long, long way. Same goes with alcohol. Now, that doesn't mean that you drink like a fish every night, because I'm not going to get into the details of why drinking every day is bad for you. But if you do want to have a drink or a few drinks a couple of times a week, that's fine. Dial it into your macronutrients, dial it into your calories, and get your ass to the gym the next morning. That's the most simple reductionist way to approach it, but it works. So that's my 2 bits on nutrition. I'm going to get a little bit into fitness before I do leave the floor open for a few questions if you guys have any. Once again, I want to touch upon the concept of really difficult, unsustainable workouts. There's this whole thing about people wanting to look good in a bikini and look really shredded for a holiday. And I really need to fit in this outfit for this wedding that's coming up. In my coaching practice, I don't want to get you hot for a wedding, and I don't want to make you look sexy for a vacation, and I don't want to make you look really good for your 40th birthday. I want to make you look like that all year round. I want to make sure that you look as good in March as you do in December. And the answer to that is definitely not really difficult workouts for a month where you're, dying on the gym floor every day. much like everything else, short-lived results are going to be short-lived in the long run in terms of how long they stay with you. If you have a super unsustainable lifestyle for a month and get a six-pack, you're going to lose the six-pack as probably faster than you got it. And then what's the point, right? You're back to square one. And also there's a lot of mental distress that comes with getting shredded, getting unshredded, getting shredded, getting unshredded. You need to be able to give your body a sort of, you need to play for the long game, if that makes sense. Stop trying to chase short-term aesthetic results, because it's a very cyclical process that ends up being very difficult for the mind. Just to answer a question that has come up, do I conduct workouts on Zoom? Yes, I do. I will be sharing information about all my verticals and services in just about 5 minutes. We have
What's the difference for you, Sanika, working out in digital versus in physical with people, and how do you feel in your body differently?
Very different, actually. So before the pandemic, it involved a lot of training people, face to face on the gym floor, in a ground, if I would train athletes. It changed completely to Zoom. It changed completely to not being able to give physical cues, not being able to tap somebody on their back and say, you know what, back straight, chest out. Or if somebody is looking down, head up. Those physical cues that you do, that you give as a coach when you get comfortable with your client, super important. So yeah, that was a huge change over there. And even in terms of Zoom, in fact, the positive that I would like to say about it is taking a physical class involved a lot of coordination and making sure everybody got there on time, and traffic and travel. Over here, it was like 8 p.m. Here's your Zoom link. I'll see you in 2 minutes. So that was definitely the positive. Good question. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the importance of strength training, especially for women. Let's put it super simply, super scientifically. Strength training gives you higher muscle mass on your body, right? Let's talk about it from the concept of weight loss and getting stronger, looking leaner, fitter, more aesthetic. Muscle, now hear me out. Muscle burns 7 to 9 calories per hour per pound. Fat burns 2 to 3 calories per hour per pound. Have more muscle on your body, which means burn more calories while working out and while resting, which thereby gives you the ability to eat more. And who doesn't want to eat more food, right? Always want to, the goal is always to eat more and burn more rather than eat less and burn less. So always focus on strength training, a long-term approach to fitness. Instead of chasing that 100 kg deadlift by the end of the year, you're better off chasing it at the end of 3 years and getting there slowly and sustainably, rather than risking injury and shocking your body. I don't know what people have with shocking their body. Don't shock your body. That's a negative word. Your body doesn't need to be shocked. Your body needs to be.
What do you mean by shocking a body? What is it? What is it? Explain.
People love to shock their body by taking on unsustainable or super quick, super difficult workout regimes where they say things like, oh, I've been doing this for so long, I've not been seeing any results. I need to do the super difficult workout program so that I can shock my body and get results. The fact of the matter is, no, you probably just need to dial back into the basics. You need to see, is your nutrition in check? Are you sleeping enough? Are you walking enough? Do you have enough quality and quantity of protein that you're eating? Rather than getting into this super crazy workout that makes you burn 800 calories, which is incredibly unsustainable, because you're gonna get over it. And what are you gonna do after that? How are you gonna shock your body again? It's probably not gonna happen. You're gonna be shocked out. So that is my 2 bits on strength training. So that's what I wanted to talk about today with respect to fitness and nutrition. I do want to lastly just go over my verticals and what I offer as a coach. And then I would love to leave the floor open to you guys to ask me any questions that you want to. And we can even discuss things like metabolism, supplements, toning, and what that means for men and women, energy levels, etc. So just quickly on what I do. The concept of remote coaching is something that has really taken off in the pandemic. I'm going to explain remote coaching to you very simply. Natalia, let's take you, for example, say you're my client. No matter where you are in the world, we will connect via Zoom. I will do a physical assessment of your physical capabilities and limitations, your goals, your equipment access, your time availability to work out each day. And basis that, we will create a fitness plan for you, keeping in mind all these affirmation factors. We work on a weekly rolling basis and we keep assessing your goals. Most common question is, how do I track your progress? Well, very simple. We track through things like pictures, videos on the form of your workouts that you're doing, certain movements, squats, deadlifts, the basic stuff that people need help in. So that's how remote coaching works. And it works similarly for nutrition as well. I'm a nutrition coach as well, where I will teach you how to balance your macros, how to eat on holiday, on a vacation, in a lockdown, how to track your food, how to know how certain foods make you feel, intolerances, allergies, all of it. It's basically like, it is exactly one-on-one coaching. It is personal training, but it's online, it's virtual, so that I can reach a much bigger audience.
And how do you do your assessment on the nutritional needs specifically? I want to know.
So how that works is it's a chat where we will find out what your daily routine is like. I want to know everything that you put into your system from the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep, and how it makes you feel, and what the trends have been for the last few months. Basis that, we will come to a sort of macronutrient goal in terms of how many calories vis-a-vis carbs, proteins, fats, and vegetables I would require to eat for optimal functioning, keeping in mind your goals, your weight loss, muscle gain, your movement levels, whatever it may be. So basis that, we create a macronutrient breakdown for you, and I create a suggested routine for you. So my goal is to have minimal input, minimal changes rather from your life to elicit maximum output. So if you're somebody who lives in an Indian household where there are a few things that are always made for lunch and dinner, I don't intend on changing that. Culture is super important when it comes to your nutrition goals. So how we will assess what your suggested routine will look like to maximize good habits and try to mitigate or sort of maybe even cut out the slightly really bad ones. That's pretty much how the nutrition plan works on a daily rolling basis. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm just wondering, like, how do you know when you can trust your client that they're actually telling the truth of the data that they input, and psychologically not hiding things from you, because the hardest thing for me was to talk to my, one of my first, true nutritionist people, is that I'm bulimic. I'm like, wait, like, is that where we start? How do you trust that your customer is actually saying truth to you?
That's a great question. Well, at the end of the day, nutrition coaching is very behaviorally based. The reason that I do not call myself a nutritionist, rather a nutrition coach, is because nutrition coaching has a lot to do with understanding the mental and psychological aspects of why we eat, what we eat, how much we eat, and how it makes us feel. So being able to understand that and becoming not a sort of teacher or for a lack of a better word, somebody who's just standing with a cane over your head like a Hitler, but rather becoming a friend, becoming somebody who your client can emotionally trust, firstly. And secondly, you need to remind the client more often than not that this is for them. This is not for me as a coach. This is to help you, the client. If you're lying to me, or if you are hiding things from me, or if you're being untruthful about anything, it's not going to make me feel differently the next morning. It's going to make you feel differently the next morning. And in my experience, guilt always circles back. Regret always circles back. And it's not about having a punishing relationship with your client where you're like, you know what, you screwed up today, you can't eat cake for 5 days. Absolutely not. You have to get into why this person screwed up. You have to get into why this person did what they did. Why did they hide from you? And how we can make more positive behavior changes and more of a trusting atmosphere for this client and not want to lie to you the next time. I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other questions? Other than the people who are hungry? Somebody asked about Zoom classes as well. I do take Zoom classes for fitness. I actually will be posting my Instagram handle on this chat right now. Please follow me, not only to keep up with my verticals and what I do, but also I tend to share a lot of important information on fitness and nutrition. Reels, Instagram Reels are the big thing now, and I share a lot of Reels to educate people. I teach you a lot about fitness and nutrition, a lot of fun facts. I bust a lot of myths. I bust a lot of misconceptions, and it's very educational. I have a very educational page. I got a question over here. How do you keep your client motivated over Zoom and remote coaching? Well, it's actually pretty simple. I'm gonna make it sound very reductionist, but right now, you're paying me, so there is automatically a monetary incentive that people have to show up. But no, jokes aside, you have to figure out your goals. You have to figure out why you're working, why you're doing what you're doing. Do you want to look a particular way? Do you want to wake up and feel better the next morning? Do you want to fit into a pair of jeans? Do you want to look better in pictures? Do you want to get fit for your spouse or for your kids? I have a lot of parents coming up to me who say, you know what, I've lived my life pretty unhealthily by now. I have a 5-year-old son, and I realize that I get tired when I play with him. I can't play ball with my kid, you know. How do you keep them motivated? You remind them of their goals every damn day. You remind them why do you wake up in the morning and go to work? So that you can make money and so that you can support your family. Cool, great. But what about your physical health? What about your mental health? What about your body? What's the point of making all that money, or what's the point of doing anything if your physical health isn't in check? So the way I motivate my clients over Zoom is, well, I do the workout with you as well. So you'll always have a motivating factor in front of you. There will be other people on the Zoom call available. It's a really good, fun atmosphere, right? Sometimes everybody needs that little push. And then honestly, when you wake up feeling like $1 million the next day, you're going to want to come back yourself. So Bhagyashri, I hope that answers your question.
Yes. Hi, Sanika. That was an awesome session. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
taking the time, and that was very encouraging, inspiring, and we look forward to having you back in April 2022 for the second version of the World Coach Forum. And yeah, also excited to have Sanika tokens, and you can actually help the world to get fit and eat what they want. So yeah.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for having me. Please follow me on Instagram. If you need a little bit of extra motivation, I have a very cute dog, and I keep posting about her all the time. So if you want cute dog pictures, please check out my Instagram. But jokes aside, I love communicating with people. I love sharing with people. I love teaching people about new things. And I feel like there's a dearth of correct information out there. There's a lot of information, but there's a dearth of correct information. If you want to learn something new, follow me. I'm at Sanika Vaid, which is right here. I'm going to put it on the chat once again. And love to stay in touch with everybody. Thank you so much for having me.